Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary. This is your host, Scotty B. Today's episode, folks, we're going to be talking about obscure cosplays and why they don't do very well on social media. The thing about that is, well, first of all, we have to define what an obscure cosplay is, because even if you do pick something that is mainstream, not everybody knows what that is. And that will possibly affect your attention online. It will possibly affect who sees that cosplay and who responds to the posts, who responds to the content. But really, what's obscure? Obscure is picking a fandom or a character that you know not many people are going to know. If you're picking somebody who's pretty far down the line in like an anime, or if you're taking on somebody who is, maybe a lesser known DC villain or something like that, but, maybe it's a character that you really like. Is it a character that you really, you just wanted to explore that character? Until a while ago, I think Dr. Fate was a character who was a little bit obscure. And now that he's been in a movie, he's not. So this can change too. What was obscure yesterday might not be obscure tomorrow, because somebody might do it and it might catch fire, or they might, there's enough cosplayers out there who have large enough followings and influence the tide enough that if they cosplay the characters, it's suddenly not obscure. One thing that I don't know about and I don't have enough information on is, I can't tell you, friends, if there are a lot of cosplayers who are trendsetters. My thought and feeling is that there aren't a lot of cosplayers who set the trends and say, when I do this, then there's a ripple effect through the community. Everybody else does it. I think we're kind of independent from that standpoint, and a lot of us are just doing our own thing. But it is very much, anything that's going to be obscure is going to be a passion project for you, a passion project for your platform. It's probably not going to get a lot of likes. It's not going to get a lot of views. You're probably not going to promote the post. It's not, in an Instagram focused world, going to do very good from that standpoint. So if you are doing these cosplays, do them for you. And again, I think a really good example of this might be A Court of Salt and Snow, recent guests on the show who are doing characters from the book series, from A Court of Thorns and Roses, and that they are working with those characters inside of that book. The people who know the books know the characters, but the people who don't know, who haven't caught on to that yet, who because there's no movie, because there's just no franchise that's really being blown up, Disney hasn't bought it yet, that is going to be a little bit more obscure to an audience and not necessarily going to like hit huge numbers. I think anybody who reads the book, anybody who knows, of course, that's really niche, but cosplay's niche anyways. But that might be an example of where you start obscure and it catches fire, and suddenly everybody knows that, everybody's going after that. And, you're more likely probably to see obscure cosplays in competitions than you are just online. Because oftentimes those characters are hard to portray. If you're getting a little bit of an introduction, or if you have something written down for your intro for when you come onto the stage and things like that, like that's going to work to your advantage. That's going to be better for you to portray yourself as that character, and you'll gain a little bit and people go, oh, okay, yeah. But really the competitions are more about the style and the crafting and how true to that it is. That it's more about how you made it rather than who you made. If you're going to do something obscure, it's a great place to test your skill set. It is a great place for you to learn something new about cosplay, because it's a passion project. You already like the characters. So putting something more into that and knowing that it's going to be something that's really for you, and that you're not going to be worried about the outcomes of what happens when you put in work and effort and energy into that cosplay. So you don't want to worry about the outcome. You don't want to worry about what people are going to think or how over it's going to be online. You just don't want to, it's not going to matter for that particular cosplay. You picked something you really wanted to get into. And when you do this, I can tell you for a fact that when you pick something you want, it's possibly going to alienate some of your audience. There's an ebb and flow to that. The content that I put out there isn't always just for the audience, and it isn't always just for me. There's a blend. I'd say with a hobby channel, there's always a chance that I put out a lot more content for myself and things that I want to hear about, and the types of topics that I want to look at. So if you're looking at, a pop cosplay, and you're looking at a post that you're putting up with something obscure, it's not going to do that well unless you already have that following for those characters. Exactly that. Like it's the exact audience that you will be going for, and that is when it works. So you can catch lightning in a bottle with something like that, but for the most part, if you're going to do the obscure cosplay, make sure that it's for you, as it should be, because it's a hobby and it is a passion and it is something that we enjoy doing. With that, thanks for watching. If you're seeing this on YouTube, if you're listening to it on the podcast, please feel free to go back and listen to some of the earlier episodes. If you've got me here on YouTube, hit the like button, send me a comment, subscribe to the channel, anything you want to do there. Follow us online. Of course, we've got all the descriptions and then show notes, and you can find us everywhere online for new content. And of course, always the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary is a safe space for you to share your stories, your tips, your builds, and talk about those causes that we should be aware of in the cosplay community. This is Scotty B with Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary saying bye-bye, everybody.